we've had a lot of conversations about trust and credibility, but I want to talk about journey mapping and omni-channel experiences, and the role of experience. So some of the research said, omni-channel behavior is the norm now. Digital discovery paired with in-person experience seems to be where it's going. Some of the consumer research shows that while social media and digital platforms drive the awareness, trust still comes primarily from friends, family, and personal networks. In fact, I can tell you, I looked at charts from across the globe, and influences in social media in terms of decision making were at the very bottom. The only place they were a little bit higher on influencers was in Asia. The Chinese liked their influencers. But in terms of making a decision, number one on every single region across the globe was friends, family, and their own personal networks. So in a world where, digital influence is high, but credibility is pretty fragile, you need that in-person experience. So the other piece of it that I wanted to talk about, in fact, I'm sorry if I'm going off, but at our Fast Company Fest that we went to in September, the golden thread through the whole thing was about how technology and AI is being used to drive in-person experiences, macro or micro experiences, and the micro experiences were really the ones that were the most successful. So they're using that to drive brand loyalty, brand ambassadors, and to then mine that data of who's there and nurture the people onward from there. So I'm going to go to Lauren and Abby, and I want you to share an example where technology strengthened peer-to-peer influence, community, or long-term trust. And Abby, I'm going to go to you first. You had said to me, technology is effective when it's not used as the hero, but used as the connector.
Well said. Thank you.
So why don't you talk a bit about that and your opinion of how it all works within that omni-channel experience?
So what I meant by that is that in so many cases of when you're doing all of our research and we're, up to here in the data, right? And, you're just, the analytics are coming at you and all of a sudden you have to take a step back and be like, oof, this could be death by data as well, right? That there's so much coming at you and you're trying to make these wild decisions. And technology, for the most part, is a hero for us, right? It's the saving grace. It's the thing that moves us forward. But if we just rely on that, it's not going to work. What we all do is human connection, right? Boating has to be done, as far as I know anyway, has to be done in person, right? Yeah. You've got to get on the boat and physically drive it to go boating. That's the connector there.
Well, and Stephanie had said you have to see it to be it.
You have to see it to be it. So what we like to do is use this technology, use social media, using AI, using our website to bring people to a place where they are together, inviting them, showing them video content, showing them social media opportunities to come together as owners of a specific brand, to come together in a community, to go boating together, to know that you can go somewhere with a group of people that you feel comfortable with and get there safely. One of the things that we do at MarineMax is we do our getaways. They are for our owners, and you can go on a getaway anywhere in the United States. If you're a MarineMax owner, you're welcome to go on our getaway. And that can be a 2-week trip to the Bahamas. That can be an afternoon to the sandbar. That can be a trip down Lake of the Ozarks, right? And they see this in technology. They see that I can go there because they've seen the pictures, they've seen the video, their sales consultant or the marketing coordinator of the store has shown them, here's the experience you're going to have, we're going to bring you together. And also what it does is it brings you together as, I'm a new member to this, and I'm nervous. I don't know anybody there. Well, we're going to connect you in a group together. We're going to get you in, I don't want to call it a chat room, but we're going to bring you together as a group of people, a group of like-minded people, and we're going to let you experience this together. But we do that online first, and then they can go out into the world and meet each other in person and go on their trips together. The biggest thing that we hear, and going back to what Natasha was talking about, are women on water classes. And that is a huge opportunity. And we learned during COVID that we did them online, right? We did our women on water classes. They could still be at home. They could still take the Zoom class, and then they could go experience the on water piece themselves later in that day. But today it is they come to the store, they learn about it first, then they come to their local location, spend classroom time with the captain, and then they get on the water and they learn that experience with the boat. They touch it, they feel it. And the number one thing we hear when they walk in the front door is, I'm here in case something happens to my husband. That's why I'm here. Yeah, in case something happens to my husband. And when they walk out the door that afternoon, they're saying, I'm picking you up at your dock. We're going to go to lunch. The boys can stay at home. We've got this. But they learned about it online. They saw the experience, but they didn't want to be there by themselves. And so that class is open to anyone. It doesn't have to be a MarineMax owner. It doesn't have to be somebody that even knows about our business. As long as you are a female, because it's for women only, that particular class, but that is inclusive for them to get in there and have that confidence, but they see about it online first. They see what the experience is going to be first.
Yeah, and you were talking to me about some of the smaller, just 5 to 10 to 12 people that get together
Absolutely.
for a couple of hours and maybe go through what the design and rationale is.
Right.
Where
using technology, right? Again, that's an opportunity. What we were talking about was so many of the brands that we carry, we have the boats will be launching, but they aren't here yet, right? They are maybe being created in Europe. They're just not on the ground yet. So we don't need, it's a luxury experience. We don't need 100, 200 people in a cocktail party trying to fill space and drinking my beer and eating my cheese, right? What we do need is we need 5 couples or 5 people coming to a luxury location, utilizing technology to look at the boat, to see the new boat and what it's going to look like, see the launch, the features, the excitement with the video, and then we offer them an experience. You're now invited to go to Italy with us and see the boat when it launches, right? That's an over-the-top experience, but we use the technology ahead of time to bring them together to say, this is what it's going to look like, this is what you'll experience while you're there. Now, why don't you come join us at the Cannes Boat Show? Why don't you join us at the factory when it launches here?
Well, and by doing those different types of events, I think you also learn more about your customer base and what their interests are. And I saw it across multiple verticals. I went to a session with the woman that's designing the avatars for, you can actually go in and have an avatar experience before the Real Madrid game. And you can become one of the soccer players. And then as the game begins, everything within that avatar experience disappears. It was wild. But also, small clothing company we were talking about that has micro events for women where they have finance people come in and tell women how to invest. So maybe doing non-endemic events as well within the space that just gets new people into the space of the dealership is something that can be used as well. And Lauren, you went back to that golden thread of community as well and how important it is when we were talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about a status symbol, and I totally agree. But status for whom? It's for your community. So I think it's super important and potentially makes this super sticky. I think social media in general, in 2025, we actually just saw across every single category, social media was the #1 channel for brand consideration in marine, which, it's coming. It's just really interesting to see it pull through and all the data. But people don't trust brands. People trust people who trust brands. So you need social media to connect, to lower some of the barriers, to be introduced to marine. And then you need your people to get people over kind of the hurdle and feeling comfortable. Now, I think there's lots of really cool ways to talk about technology in this space, like the Real Madrid example. But let's not forget, this is still one of the most fragmented industries in terms of all the parts of our ecosystem. There are a lot of handoffs. When we talk about everyone playing their role, this is a niche enough industry where we cannot afford to lose a single consumer that we didn't have to otherwise lose in all these handoffs. And if I just use automotive as a proxy, it's not a perfect proxy, but Cox Automotive did a study with Google that showed it took more than 60 consumer touch points from awareness to purchase. And you could decide for yourself whether you think boating would be more than that or less than that. But let's call it 60. That is a lot. And all of these handoffs still feel cumbersome to boaters, to our community. You don't always know who to call. Unless you've got great dealers who are just like, it doesn't even matter who you call, just call us, we will figure this out for you, or people who are really investing in experience. But I think technology as a vehicle to kind of cut through that noise and create a frictionless consumer experience is really kind of the secret ingredient.
Yeah, and that actually was my next question. And if we drill down and we talk about the tools that you use, because it is one long consumer experience all the way through the entire life of when they own that boat. So and Abby, you blatantly said that to me. Nobody experiences brands in silos. They see it as one long journey. So
And the way I'd say that, and we've been, and MarineMax has been a Sea Ray dealer since our inception, right? And before, Bill was a Gulf One Marine, was a Sea Ray only dealer. The Clearwater store in Clearwater, Florida on Highway 19 is referred to as the Sea Ray store. It's been almost 28 years that we have not been just a Sea Ray store, and people will come in and be like, yeah, I went to the Sea Ray store, right? So there's no concept. It's all one.
yeah,
And it should be. That's what they should experience. They should experience it from top to bottom. That doesn't matter. When I go in there, I get the experience that I want with whatever I purchase.